Well, hello everyone, and you join us here today to talk some more about the releases at Watches and Wonders, and as fortune would have it, today we're talking about Patek Philippe. Why is that fortunate? Because Patek Philippe have released another watch. We saw a whole bunch of stuff at Watches and Wonders. What did you make, Tom, of their stand?
Oh yeah, crazy. Big, palatial, fully glass and steel structure. They built like their HQ boutique inside of the expo hall. Yeah, it was very, very audacious.
To call it a stand perhaps does it a disservice. This is not a lemonade stand by any chance. This is a lemonade factory. And we saw, I think, 12 new watches in total, plus a whole bunch of other stuff. They had everything there. And we're going to go through them for you today, including one they just released this morning. Probably my favourite watch of their whole selection, to be honest, but we'll get to that.
I wonder why they were holding that one back, but yeah, interesting.
I sent them a little message and said, we won't be able to get onto you until Wednesday. Is that all right? And they said, yeah, it's fine. We'll save it.
Okay.
I'm besties with Mr. Stern. I call him Sterny Boy.
Yeah, he calls you Handrew, and you do like a secret shake.
Yeah. Oh, we give each other noogies from time to time. Oh, such japes. But anyway, we start with something I didn't really expect to see, which are some Salmon Dials. Basel World 2018 called, what's its colour back?
Yeah.
So a release we've seen before, the 5172, but this time with a Salmon Dial. Looks very smart. And also the 5320 Perpetual calendar, again in salmon. You're not a fan of the salmon colour, are you?
No, it looks like skin. Looks like there's a big hole in your watch.
I'd never thought about it. Like, you've ruined Salmon Dials for me, Tom.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I do like the numerals on these dials. That is something I do like. They're sort of bold and they've got a nice bit of depth to them, and they sort of pop off of the salmon dial, and I quite like that.
Yeah, with these syringe hands and the luminous markers, we're getting vibes of 1930s pilot's watches, I'd say. And that you'll see that as a theme as well into the next watches, and it's I would say if I was to pick out a theme for this year's show, it's Patek Philippe stepping more towards a younger audience.
Right.
These watches don't feel as granified as perhaps some of the releases we've seen in the past. Sizes a little bit more modern, look a little bit more modern. I think they're going after a younger audience for sure.
Yeah.
Not us, because we can't afford them, and
no,
we're not that young either, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
If you really want to dial it down to the ute, we've got two new offerings from the Calatrava Collection. There is the 5226G, which is a 40mm time and date only watch with a white gold case and a hobnailed pattern around the outside. That textured dial, smoky, beigey, browny, the faux loom hands and markers, again in the same style that we were just talking about on the 5172 Chronograph. A really nice looking watch. Simple, sporty, not too much, not too little. What do you think?
Yeah, really cool. I love that dial texture.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's this granular structure, but it does look a little bit like tarmac to me. It looks like it'd be quite painful if you fell on it, if you came off your bike. You could scrape your knees on that, but really cool. Yeah, like the whole. I'm not sure about the hobnail band around the middle of the case though. That sort of. I find that a little bit disruptive. It's sort of. I kind of feel like that disrupts the flow of the case. I would have preferred that smooth, but you know, who am I to say? But yeah, really cool. I like that one. That's probably my favourite of the bunch so far.
In otherwise a very simple and interesting watch. The band around the outside does seem a bit ornate, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a differentiator. It'll grow on us, I'm sure. You also get, as well as the suede beige strap, you get a black canvas strap. Now, if anything said that these watches are being aimed at a younger market,
yeah,
it's a canvas strap on a Patek Philippe. And I think that's, when you see the pictures, I think that's probably my favourite of the two straps. It really brings the whole thing down to earth.
Definitely.
And then they've expanded that look as well for the 5326, which is the first time they've ever combined an annual calendar with a travel time collection. Now that dial looks very busy, but it's nowhere near as busy as the name of the caliber, which I will read for you now. 31-260 PSQA LUFUS 24H. That's quite the mouthful for a watch, which is also quite the eyeful. I'm not feeling this one as much as I am the plain and simple one.
Yeah, more gubbins and stuff going on. So what was it again? It's an annual calendar and a travel time complication.
That's right, yeah.
Merged together. Yeah, right, okay. Because Patek Philippe said 2 useful complications come together for the first time. I didn't know if they were sort of dissing the entire industry or if it was 2 unique combinations that had not been used before. But
yeah, it is genuinely 2 complications that they've never paired together before. I don't know if anyone else has ever paired that together before, if they're just talking about themselves.
Yeah, I don't know. Presumably not. I mean, they're saying that the movement has got 8 unique functions, 8 patented new complications. So it sounds like it might have been, a bit of a test for them. So perhaps it is unique to them.
With all those little windows and stuff dotted around, it's starting to look a little bit like a pinball machine. So yeah, I'll stick to the 5226G. If that's all right, Mr. Patek.
Yeah, same.
But if those salmon-coloured dials were several years ago, we jump into the green dial section for a colour that has been the most popular of the entire show.
I was a little bit off when I said red.
Red, green, close enough.
Yeah.
I think they might be on complete opposite sides of the colour wheel. But
I think red's probably a bit too much for them. Maybe in a few years.
Yeah, they'll warm to it. But we have, very quickly, the 5270P Perpetual Calendar Chronograph in a smoky green. And we also have the 5205R Annual Calendar in a sunburst green. And that, the rose gold case, comes with sculpted lugs. Now, we mentioned this last time, but the smoky green dial, the sculpted lugs, these are all very reminiscent of Moser. We've seen those things with them before.
Yeah, it looks really cool on this watch. It's sort of sculptural and it's like liquid. It's like a galaxy caramel dripping off your watch. Very, very nice.
Yeah.
And this, you're saying green. They've gone down the new Omega Seamaster green. Very muddy, olive green. But yeah, quite nice.
Yeah, under the light, the 5205 really catches and it becomes almost a goldy green. With the sunburst pattern. So it's one that you definitely need to see for yourself.
Yeah.
But now I'm in mind of a Galaxy Caramel bar and I'm rather hungry. So let's move on from those before I start salivating. There's so many to get through. For such a niche manufacturer of high-end luxury products made in low volume, they sure do have a lot of releases and we haven't even covered all of the ladies' ones.
Yeah, so I was very overwhelmed. It was very late in the day. There was a last appointment and they were all coming out and I just didn't know what was what, really. I didn't know what was new and what wasn't. Is this, how much of this is very new and how much of it is just sort of tweaks? Could you say?
So really, the texture dial stuff so far is new. Everything else has been tweaks, really. Some modifications to the case and dial colours and things like that. And the next set of world time watches, the 5230P and the 5231G with the enamel dial. Similar sort of thing. They've had a reprofiled case, the crown guards are gone, the lugs are slightly different, and they've tidied up the font, which used to be quite fruity, and is now a little bit more sedate, bringing that line a little bit more into the modern realm. When you see the old one, you'll see what I mean. It looks a little bit dated now, but nothing too drastic. But if you want drastic, Tom, and I know you do, you are a very drastic fellow.
I love drastic situations.
The new release of this morning is the 5470P, the 1/10 of a second mono pusher.
Awesome. Sporty.
Very. Yeah. 1/10 of a second, that's usually the domain of Zenith with their 36,000 VPH El Primero.
Yeah.
But now Patek Philippe has it too.
That's the first time for them?
I think it's their first wristwatch chronograph for it. Perhaps they've made pocket watches for it in the past. But But they've gone all out. Are you familiar with the Advanced Research Department? I think we spoke about it before for their speaker watch, didn't we?
Yeah, we've covered this. Yeah, very contemporary way of doing things, experimenting with new materials and techniques and things. Very scientific and sort of at odds with the kind of handmade traditional way of doing things that you might expect from a brand like Patek Philippe. So very cool juxtaposition of watchmaking techniques. And what's this one? Because it was very silicon heavy, as I remember. Is that the case here?
Yes, that is still very much the case. As you can see from the way it looks with the blue and flashes of red, the blue canvas strap with the red stitching, this is a very modern watch, perfectly paired with the Advanced Research Department methodology. It uses the full Oscillomax escapement, so that's the silicon balance, silicon hairspring, silicon escape wheel, and silicon pallet fork. But that's not all this thing gets, because it gets a little bit bonkers. You have the 1/10 of a second mono pusher chronograph, so it beats 10 times per second, that's 5 hertz. But this watch has 2 chronograph seconds hands. They have a silver one, which goes around the dial once per minute, and they have the red one, which goes around the dial once every 12 seconds. So five revolutions per minute.
The red one's a little bit longer by the looks of it.
It does appear to be, yeah. I think it's tracking the finer track around the outside of the dial.
Yeah.
Now, to do this, they had to put in 2 chronograph movements.
Right.
And they have conjoined these with an octopus wheel, which we have seen on the extremely high-end minute repeater. So all that tells you that this is something rather special. 2 movements. It's now the CH29535PS 1/10. It makes the watch a little bit thicker in its platinum case, but to see those 2 second hands whizzing around at the same time at different speeds, I think it'd be quite something.
Yeah, I love it. I really like when you can have a very unique complication and still have a very clean and tidy dial. You know, just 2 sub-dials and, yeah, really nice red accents. It looks the biz.
It really does. It's probably the most modern watch I've seen from Patek Philippe in terms of outright looks. And this was quite funny, actually. I noticed in the video watching it. So the red seconds chronograph hand is also made of silicon, or what Patek Philippe calls silinvar. And this is etched with this fancy looking, very expensive machine, very, very high precision, and then coated in red paint. But in order to fit this to the mechanism, it has to be attached to a little brass spigot, I guess. And the way they do this, and they show this in the video, is by gluing it on.
Yeah, Gorilla Glue or something.
Yeah, little dot of glue, very precisely placed, but glue nonetheless. Never would I have thought I would see a promotional video from Patek Philippe showing them gluing components together.
Yeah, excellent.
They don't quote how thick it is. It does look quite thick, but I think it's worth it. I'm not sure how much it costs either.
They don't quote the price either, yeah, it's application.
No, that's always a bad sign, isn't it? I think this thing is going to be incredibly expensive, and maybe we'll see one at next year's Watches and Wonders. So there you have it, a whole bunch of Patek Philippe releases and a little surprise at the end for all of us. Probably my favourite Patek Philippe of the show, would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
Does that wipe out the Calatrava for you?
Yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, it's a shame it actually wasn't there, unless it was there and your pal Thierry's keeping it from you. Maybe we're not quite as close as I'd thought. It could well be the case, couldn't it?
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I don't actually know him at all.
Yeah.
But there you go. Some fun Patek Philippe stuff. Great to see them doing things that are still innovative and modern, and seeing them appeal to a younger audience and trying to stay relevant. So, what brand should we talk about next, Tom?
I think we've got to talk about Jaeger, haven't we? We need to get our heads around what that is.
Yeah, there's some work to do on that one. So while we go make a mess of our brains trying to figure out exactly what they've done this year, we'll see you next time. Please do subscribe if you like these videos and join us again tomorrow. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.